What is the single most dangerous thing a leader can do? It's not making a bad call. It's not a failed project. It's doing nothing at all. When you dodge a tough conversation just to keep the peace, you're not preventing a conflict. You're lighting a fuse that will silently burn its way through your entire team. Think about that person on your team who isn't pulling their weight, or perhaps two-star players who just can't get along. That little voice in your head telling you to let it slide, that's the mistake. And it's a massive signal to everyone that standards are just suggestions, which kicks off a chain reaction that absolutely demolishes trust and performance. Today, I'm not just talking about why this happens. I'm going to break it down into the devastating fallout and give you a clear and actionable way to fix it. So let's kick this off. So why do we do it? Why do so many smart, capable leaders sidestep these critical conversations? The answer is simple. It's human nature. We're wired to avoid social discomfort. Leaders often tell themselves a convenient story. I'm just keeping things positive, or I don't want to kill their motivation, or you know what? It's probably not a huge deal. It'll probably sort itself out. But this story, however comforting, is a dangerous lie. This isn't being kind. It's a fundamental failure of leadership. It's giving up one of your most important jobs, to protect the team's standards. Every time you walk past a problem, you set a new, lower standard. Every time you let a missed deadline go without a word, you're telling the team that deadlines don't really even matter. Every time you ignore a passive-aggressive jab in a meeting, you are co-signing a toxic culture. You see, your silence speaks volumes, and it is way louder than any mission statement you could ever hang on the wall. It sends a crystal clear message to every person on your team. The rules aren't the rules. The standards are optional, and the person in charge isn't willing to defend them. Your culture isn't defined by a handbook. It's shaped by the bad behavior you're willing to tolerate. That one act of avoidance kicks off a devastating chain reaction, a domino effect that can cripple even the most talented teams. Let's break down what happens next, because the consequences are severe and they are expensive. Consequence number one, your high performers disengage and leave. The first people who notice your avoidance are always your best people. High performers are allergic to mediocrity. They thrive on accountability and have a deep need for fairness. When they see a teammate consistently underperforming with zero consequences, they don't blame the slacker. They blame you. Their inner monologue flips from, how can I help us win, to why am I even trying so hard if it doesn't matter? This is where quiet quitting starts. They stop giving that extra effort, not because they're lazy, but because you've shown them it's pointless. Their passion dies and they start doing the bare minimum. This isn't a small thing. Research from Gallup consistently shows that managers are responsible for 70% of the variance in team engagement. Your failure to act directly poisons the motivation of the very people you can't afford to lose. And eventually, they won't be just quiet quitting. They'll just be gone. Consequence number two, trust evaporates and psychological safety dies. When a leader stays silent on what matters, the team doesn't find peace. They find uncertainty. They fill the vacuum of your silence with their own stories, and they're usually not positive ones. They start wondering, what else isn't the boss telling us? Trust doesn't just erode between them and you, it crumbles between teammates. This breeds a culture of fear. When people see that standards aren't enforced and problems are swept under the rug, they stop feeling safe. They stop raising their hands to point out a potential disaster. They start hiding their own mistakes, terrified they'll be thrown under the bus. This lack of psychological safety is catastrophic for innovation. Small, fixable issues fester in silence until they become massive, expensive failures. Consequence number three, performance collapses, and costs skyrocket. This is where the soft problem of avoiding a conversation hits the hard, cold numbers that should keep every leader up at night. A lack of engagement has a staggering cost. Again, according to Gallup, low employee engagement cost the global economy $438 billion in lost productivity. And if the entire global workforce were fully engaged, it could add a mind-boggling 9.6 trillion to the world economy, a 9% boost in global GDP. Then there's the cost of turnover. Toxic workplace cultures, which are a direct result of leaders avoiding tough conversations, cost US employers an estimated $223 billion over a 5-year period from employee turnover alone. And it gets more specific. Disengaged employees have higher rates of absenteeism and are less productive. Some studies show they make up to 60% more errors in their work. The stakes are real. The costs are astronomical. Your avoidance isn't free. It's the most expensive choice you can possibly make. Now, knowing all this is the first step, but the most important part is learning how to fix it. Before we get into the exact step-by-step framework for having these conversations without drama, if you're getting value from this, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. I put out practical leadership advice like this every single week to help you build a team that actually wins. So let's talk about the accountability framework, which is a 3-step solution. Look, the goal isn't to turn you into some kind of confrontational boss. The best leaders aren't aggressive. They're just incredibly clear and consistent. The solution is to completely reframe the difficult conversation. It's not an attack. It's an act of clarity, kindness, and respect. So here's a simple 3-step framework to get you there. Step 1, change your goal. First, you have to change your mindset. Your objective is not to punish, to scold, or prove you're right. Your objective is simply to close the gap between what was expected and what was observed. You're a problem solver, not a judge. Walk into the conversation with genuine curiosity. Your goal is to understand their side of the story. Why is this happening? What's getting in their way? How can you, as their leader, help them get back on track? This mental shift from confrontation to collaboration changes the entire energy of the interaction. It turns a lecture into a dialogue. Step 2, prepare with data, not drama. You cannot go into this conversation with vague feelings of, I heard that. You have to prepare with specific, objective, and observable facts. This is the most crucial part of the process because it strips out personal opinions and grounds the conversation in reality. Before you meet, write down the answer to these 3 questions. 1, what was the specific expectation? And be precise. For instance, the client report was due on Friday at 5 p.m. Or the standard is that all client emails get a response within 24 hours. 2, what was the observed reality? This has to be a fact. For instance, the report came in on Monday at 10 a.m. Or I can see that 3 emails from the last week still haven't been answered. Finally, number 3, what was the impact? This connects the action to a real-world consequence. Because the report was late, the marketing team was blocked, and now the entire project timeline is at risk. Or when clients don't hear back, it hurts our reputation, and they might start looking elsewhere. When you have this data, the conversation stops being about your opinion of them and starts being about the real, tangible effect of their actions on the team and the business. Step 3, use observe, impact, question formula. Now you're ready for the conversation. You can open the discussion with a simple but powerful formula. First, you observe. Just state the facts you gathered. Use neutral, non-judgmental language. I've noticed you arrived about 15 minutes late to our last 3 team meetings. Second, you explain the impact. This is where you connect the dots for them. When that happens, we have to delay our start, and it throws off our momentum for the rest of the day. Third, and this is the most important part, you question. This is where you open the door for them to talk. You simply ask, Can you help me understand what's going on? Or I'd love to hear your perspective on this. This formula isn't aggressive, it's direct, it's respectful, and it works. It creates a space for an honest conversation where the other person feels heard, not attacked. And it creates the shared reality you need to find a path forward. The moments that define your leadership won't be the easy days. They'll be the times you had to choose between what was comfortable and what was right. Avoiding a difficult conversation is always the more destructive choice. Your silence isn't peace. It's permission. It's permission for standards to drop, for resentment to build, and for your best people to head for the exit. So here's my challenge to you. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just pick one. There's one conversation you've been putting off. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. Schedule it this week. Prepare for it using the framework. Data, not drama. And open with observe, impact, question. Your journey to becoming the leader your team deserves doesn't start with a big, flashy strategy. It starts with one courageous conversation. If this video helped you, let me know in the comments which part hit home the most. And make sure you check out the next video. Thanks for listening.